I've always sort of lived my life like I'm some wacky character in a movie or a book. This is an imaginary baseball league that I've sort of been playing with since I was a 9-year-old kid. I take like 40, 50-year-old baseball cards and I paint on them. I use gouache incorrectly and I paint, absolutely very incorrect. Right now, the market value of this art that I've made is about $7 million. I'll do whatever it takes to build and maintain that value, and I'll never fuck anybody over. At first, I was really just sort of knocking these cards around, just messing with them, defacing them, getting a little goofy, kind of punny at times. I literally had never even picked up a brush. If I told you what I initially painted with, it would be sacrilege to any artist around. This is a painting titled High-Waisted Brothers, and it's about a pair of siblings, brothers, who play on different teams in the universe, but they're high-waisted. Their torsos are very short, and they wear their pants very high on their waist. And it's just a silly little phrase, but it plays out. It took me a while to really feel like I was painting. And once I started painting is where the narrative started to play out, and that's where I started grabbing these teams from the past, from my youth, as well as some others that have grown along the years. The very first team that I did was the X's, a team of ex-boyfriends. Because to me, the concept of a team made up of entirely of one person's ex-boyfriends was like the funniest thing ever. So they have a reason for being an ex, which is their position. So instead of having pitchers and catchers on that team, you have lives in an RV or just started a podcast. Bad kisser is one of them. This one, he's an all-star with 3 driving while intoxicated convictions. Steve Rogers here has had better times, but here he's captured in his mugshot. Meanwhile, I happen to be like 5 of them. Like there's different things in there that totally represent why I'm an ex to somebody. We don't need to say which ones exactly, though I did live in an RV. Most of Threesomes has a lot of self-portraiture going on in there. A lot of it, yeah. There's a lot of self-reflection in the series. I started posting my stuff on Instagram around March, really without thinking about it as NFT worthy. It just was the first time that I was showing any of my paintings to anybody, other than the ladies that I've slept with, right? And then I came across all these artists that I didn't know. I'd never heard of Fuck Render or Mad Dog Jones or Beeple, and all of a sudden I'm buying and selling and collecting in this market, and these are the greats of it. And so I started painting them. Some of the artists started to see themselves and started to reach out to me. The first one was Mad Dog Jones. He actually gave me the suggestions on a bunch of the guys that ended up being in Series 2. A lot of what we do is our collectors are tasked with completing a series or a certain group of cards to unlock other cards. And this was the award for Series 2, and this is a Pac scratch-off. And Pac is an anonymous digital artist, and I thought it'd be funny to entice people to scratch off and figure out who Pac is underneath. You had to collect every single card in Series 2 in order to receive the Pac scratch-off. Let me take a little gander who we've got in here today. Ratro and Miz and Quistoff, we're making our plans. Doug. Because of the way I do my paintings, where it's about collecting, and you need a community to do that. So I came up with the Grotto, this fictional 70s cocktail lounge, as a place to just sort of hang out. Meanwhile, it's the only place that you can go to talk about these goofy baseball cards. In that regard, one doesn't exist without the other. I certainly can't be Threesomes as we are today without the Grotto.
They're all interested in this one woman. And then there's another woman.
And so there's 2 elements to the Grotto. I, Threesomes, will do whatever it takes to maintain the collector value. Any money that you're putting into the collection of my art, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm maintaining that and increasing that value, okay? And the second is I'll never fuck anyone over, okay? Those are the two ideas, that's it. That right there is enough utility that everybody should trust me and go with that, because that's few and far between in the space. The sort of centerpiece of the monster team, he's a Godzilla, and he's so large and gigantic that he doesn't even fit on the card. These are women and their cats. Little cleavage didn't hurt anybody. Jack LaMame, who is a cat mom as well. But the idea of BDSM sort of subs just makes perfect sense to me, that they would be on a team. The Roman Catholic Cardinali. I like to imagine a baseball game where one side are submissives and the other side are Cardinali, and the Cardinali have to concentrate and focus on the game, even though they're drooling over the subs. I have conceived this very high-arching narrative to this whole process, this whole project. And so there are elements of it that get sort of released bit by bit. Some of them foreshadow things that are going to happen down the road. Some of them are to create reference points. And so the concept with Threesome's utility is that every single card will deliver to you some sort of future use. If I have this card, I'll be able to do something else with it. That card may become another card. I may destroy that card in the name of picking up a different one. I may need to assemble a series of them. It's sort of limitless, and I'm comfortable living in that limitless utility world where I'm creating very valuable assets that I tempt you to destroy every day. And so for me, it takes it beyond that idea of just baseball teams playing baseball. This is actually one of the best examples you could catch me painting of an extended narrative where we've got one of these players, Paul Rushell. He's made 4 previous appearances. This will be his 5th card. He was famous for being the first dad to be. He was painted pregnant, and I painted him as 3 separate cards, but all the same pose. And so that's the first time we saw him. And then we found out later on that he played for a team called the Subs, which are a team of submissives. And he likes to be tied up and he's bound with nipple clamps. So that happened before the pregnancy. But here he's making his first appearance alongside his brother Rick, who plays for a team which I'm hinting at but not telling anybody about yet. Being in the NFT space really makes sense for a project like mine because on their own, I don't see them as having a collectability. As the paintings themselves, there's no way for them to interact once they go home with the buyer. And so all this utility that everybody gets very excited about that I've put together, it's really been done on the back of envelopes with crayon marker. And so to get us to the point now where we're talking smart contracts and wallet interaction and the evolution of the images, that's only possible in the NFT space.